Everyone who has ever tried to quit a bad habit knows how this goes. You decide today is the day. You're done. Cold turkey. New you. And then 3 days later, you're back where you started, feeling worse than before you even tried. I did this cycle for longer than I want to admit, until I stopped trying to quit and started trying something completely different. And it actually worked. Here's why cold turkey almost never works for dopamine-based habits. Your brain doesn't experience quitting as freedom. It experiences it as loss. When you suddenly remove something your brain has been getting regular hits of dopamine from, whether that's social media, junk food, or anything else compulsive, your brain panics. It floods you with cravings, anxiety, irritability, not because you're weak, because that's literally what withdrawal feels like neurologically. And willpower is a finite resource. You might white-knuckle it for 2 days, maybe 3, but eventually the craving wins. And then you feel like a failure on top of everything else. I went through this over and over. Every time I tried to stop completely, I lasted maybe 48 hours before caving. And every time I caved, I felt worse than before I started. So I stopped trying to quit cold turkey and started asking a different question. What if instead of eliminating the habit overnight, I just pushed it further away, slowly, until it disappeared on its own? I call it the spacing method, and it's almost embarrassingly simple. Instead of telling yourself you're quitting, you just add 1 day of spacing at a time. If you were doing something every day, you allow it every 2 days. Just that. 1 extra day of space. You do that for a week or two until every 2 days feels normal. Then you push it to every 3 days, then every 4, then once a week, then once every 2 weeks. You never tell your brain it's losing something permanently, so your brain never panics. There are no withdrawal symptoms because the habit isn't gone. It's just spaced out further and further until it barely exists in your life anymore. The first time I tried this, I went from every day to every 2 days with almost no resistance. That would have been impossible cold turkey. But because I wasn't quitting, just waiting 1 extra day, my brain accepted it. 2 weeks later, I pushed to every 3 days, then every 5. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I'm completely free of it. But I went from something that controlled my daily life to something I barely think about. That's not nothing. Here's what's actually happening in your brain when you use this method. Every compulsive habit works on a dopamine loop. Trigger, craving, behavior, reward. The more you repeat the loop, the stronger the neural pathway gets. It becomes automatic. Cold turkey tries to break the loop by sheer force. The spacing method does something smarter. It gradually weakens the pathway by using it less frequently. Each time you successfully wait the extra day, you prove to your brain that it can survive without the hit. The craving response gets slightly weaker each time. There's also something called dopamine baseline reset. When you reduce the frequency of a high dopamine activity, your brain slowly recalibrates. Things that used to feel boring, a walk, a conversation, reading, start feeling rewarding again. Your baseline comes back up. That's the real win. Not just reducing the habit, but feeling normal again without needing it. I'm not saying this is easy. Waiting that 1 extra day still requires something from you, but it requires a fraction of what cold turkey demands. And it actually works. At least it did for me. If you've been stuck in the quit and relapse cycle and it's making you feel like